Have you ever been in a meeting where someone throws around the word agile and you just kind of nod along, hoping nobody asks you to explain it? Yeah, we've all been there. So today, we're going to pull back that curtain. We're going to get to the why behind it all, the simple, powerful ideas that totally started a revolution in how we build things. Okay, let's dive right in.
This quote right here, it just gets right to the heart of the problem, doesn't it? I mean, can you imagine spending months, maybe even years, building something that perfectly matches the original plan, only to launch it and find out that nobody actually wants it? That was the painful reality that created the desperate need for a better way.
To really get the solution, you gotta understand the problem first. So let's just take a quick trip back in time and see how things, especially software, used to get made. It all started with, well, kind of a beautiful mess.
In the very early days, it was this free-for-all called code and fix. You know, developers just wrote code. Then they fixed the bugs as they popped up. And look, for tiny little projects, that was fine. But for anything even slightly complex, it was completely, totally unpredictable. That chaos led to a huge demand for something more structured, more like a real engineering discipline.
And so out of that chaos came the waterfall model. It showed up around 1970, and it brought discipline through this really strict one-way process. You had to finish one phase completely, like gathering every single requirement before you could even think about moving to the next phase, like design. It brought order, sure, but that rigid top-down structure came with a really serious hidden cost. And here's a perfect example of how that rigidity just falls apart in the real world. So picture this. A team spends a month getting every requirement for a new website signed off. Perfect. Then, 12 months into development, a competitor launches this killer new feature. But the team can't change course. They're locked in. So, at month 18, they deliver their project. It works perfectly according to the original plan, but the market has already moved on. It's obsolete the day it launches. And that story just lays it all bare, right? It shows Waterfall's biggest flaw. It's just so brittle. Because it's so inflexible, there's zero room to adapt to reality. You only get feedback from your actual customer at the very, very end, which means you could literally spend years building the absolute wrong thing. It's this huge all-or-nothing bet that your plan from day one was absolutely perfect.
Now, this frustration, it wasn't just in one company. It was being felt all across the software world. It was becoming painfully clear that something had to change. And that change, believe it or not, began at a ski resort in Utah.
So get this. February 2001. 17 software developers. These are pioneers who are just fed up, right? They're tired of delivering projects that were successes on paper but failures in real life. They all got together. But they weren't there to create another rigid process. They were there to find a fundamentally better way to think about building software.
And what came out of that meeting wasn't some huge, complicated rulebook. It was something much more profound. It's called the Manifesto for Agile Software Development. And it's not another methodology. It's a declaration of values, a core philosophy for a whole new way of thinking.
So, what exactly is this new way of thinking? Well, it all boils down to 4 core values that basically flip the old waterfall model completely on its head.
And this right here, this shows the huge shift in priorities perfectly. Agile says we value individuals and how they interact with each other more than we value rigid processes and tools. We value actual working software more than we value tons of documentation. We value collaborating with our customer more than negotiating a contract. And maybe the biggest one of all, we value responding to change more than blindly following a plan.
And that right there, that leads us to maybe the single most important idea in all of this. Agile isn't just a checklist of tasks you perform. It's a mindset you adopt. It's not what you do, it's how you are.
So what is the Agile mindset?
Well, simply put, it's a way of thinking and acting that's guided by those 4 values we just talked about. It means you embrace the fact that you don't have all the answers up front. Instead, you work in small cycles, you build a little bit, you get some feedback, and you adjust your course. And this right here is where so many organizations get it wrong. There is a critical difference between being agile and doing agile. Doing agile is the practices, the frameworks, the how. It's following the rules of something like Scrum. But being agile is the mindset, the philosophy, the why. And here's the kicker. The practices, the how, they just don't work if you haven't truly embraced the mindset, the why first.
Okay, so if Agile is a mindset, how does that actually, translate into getting work done on a Monday morning? Well, that's where the practical frameworks come into play.
Two of the most popular ones you'll hear about are Scrum and Kanban. Think of Scrum as a way to structure work into these short, focused cycles called sprints. It's fantastic for tackling really complex projects. Kanban, on the other hand, is more like a continuous river. It's all about visualizing your entire workflow to create a smooth, constant flow of progress. They're different tools for sure, but they're both powered by that same core Agile mindset.
So Agile started as a way to fix broken software projects. But its core principles, embracing change, collaborating closely, and delivering real value step by step, those are universal. It's not just about code anymore. So the question to leave you with is this: what part of your own work, or heck, even your life, could be transformed by adopting an Agile mindset?